Throughout this postseason, which has been magical for the Montreal Canadiens, we've seen a limited number of fans in the building. They had 2,500 at one point. They bumped it up to 3,500. But the provincial health authority would not bump it to a higher number. There was rumors going around that it looked as if it was going to go up to about 10,000. It was not to be, unfortunately. That means all the fans who got to be in the building, it was only capped at 3,500, and everyone else had to watch from outside if they weren't going to be at home. Were you surprised the Quebec government didn't allow more than 3,500 fans at the Bell Centre?
Well, I've been at every playoff game at the Bell Centre, and in the Stanley Cup final, it certainly looks like there's more than 3,500 people in there, to be honest with you. It looks, I'd say, 5,000. So you wonder if maybe there's sort of a nudge, wink, wink. We're going to tell everybody that it's 3,500, but we'll let you sell 5,000 tickets. Again, I'm just from my eye view from the press box, it looks like a lot more than 35. Well, it looks like more than 3,500 people. I was surprised. I thought might at least go to half capacity with making sure people had been double vaccinated. And the Canadiens, when they made the request to the government, they said they were open to that, having people show proof of being double vaccinated before they came in. So in that aspect, it's disappointing. On the other side, though, I'm happy the government. I'd rather be safe than sorry in this situation with everything we've gone through this whole COVID-19 pandemic. To pack all those people into the Bell Centre and then see, numbers shoot up again. We see all the fans outside. Most of them not wearing masks. The fact they are outside, you hope that that helps. You hope a lot of those people are vaccinated. So it was a tough decision for the government, I'm sure. It wasn't popular with the Canadiens. It wasn't popular, I don't think, with public opinion. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. And again, I think just from my look, it looks like there's more than 3,500 people in there.
Yeah, it is disappointing, but you have to respect the government's decision. They weren't happy with it. And really, I was there once, in one of the lodges and on the entry and, throughout the building, even though people had masks, I was still wondering about, are there any COVID carriers? And, when you don't have confirmation of all the people that are in attendance that they're covered with their double vaccine, then you're rolling the dice a little bit, because realistically, there could be some people that are carrying it in the crowds and they're not following the rules exactly the way that they're supposed to follow. The last thing you want to do is have another outbreak that stemmed from, overcrowding the Bell Centre. Disappointing, yes, but understandably, knowing that they were concerned that they didn't want to open up problem areas again. And, we're going to, unfortunately, get the whole province and country where we need it to be. And it's just an unfortunate time at the Bell Centre that we're not able to get more people in there. But, we'll get there eventually with where we want to go with people getting back to normalcy.
And I get it that the government wants to be safe about this, but the crowds outside, even though they're outside, these people are shoulder to shoulder, hugging after a goal, not wearing masks. If they're going to spread COVID, it will be there, even though it's outside. I think having 10,000 people in the Bell Centre spread out would be a safer way to have them. And it would be a great opportunity to reward those people who went and got their second shot, because that's a big thing right now too, is some people don't want to go back for their second shot because it's summertime, they're going on vacation, something else happened, and or they just forgot to go for it. So if okay, I want to go to this Habs game, I have to have my second shot, it might encourage more people to do so. I just don't really understand the government's thinking to just constantly let those crowds be outside the Bell Centre, being shown, on the hockey broadcasts and everything, rather than find a safer way to have these people be able to watch the games, because there's not even a big screen. They're looking into the TVs in the Cajot Sport, which are not huge TVs. So think of how close these people are. And I don't really think it was great with Mayor Valerie Plante pointing fingers at the Montreal Canadiens organization, the Canadiens saying it's not up to us to organize viewing parties, that I think it could have been handled much better, set something up, have people come with, their blankets, their soccer chairs, to be able to have more of a distance close to the Bell Centre. And to me, that's what kind of bothered me the most about it.
I think this meeting I think the Canadiens could have done something to set it up. I mean, I sort of chuckled when they said we don't have the time or the resources to do this. It's a $1 billion franchise. We don't have the resources to set up a screen and some stands somewhere for people to watch the game. I thought that was bad. But I think the other thing with the government that comes into play too, there's other businesses that are under the similar restrictions. So if you make an exception for the Canadiens to get more people in their building, then I'm sure Vince Guzzo, who owns all the cinemas, and all these other businesses are going to be calling the government saying, well, then we want the same thing. So I think that factored also into the government's decision that if they didn't want to look like they were making an exception for the Canadiens, there's other businesses in the cities that are affected also, and they would be saying, hey, well, then we want restaurants, well, then we want more capacity. Movie theaters, we want more capacity. So I think the government didn't want to go down that path.
And you look south of the border and you see the number of people in all their stadiums. Not to say that it's bulletproof down there, but that has a tendency to make people upset also when they see full capacity and cheering on all the professional teams. But it is what it is, and unfortunately we have to live with it.
Yeah, there's a bit of envy there, I can imagine. I can also can't help but feel before another Montreal-based sports team that kind of has to stay on the south of the border while all of this is going on, the travel between the two Stanley Cup final teams. The one thing I'll say about the limit at the Bell Center here, I was a bit surprised that they didn't increase it. But for people who think that increasing the number of people inside the building will lead to a decrease of people outside celebrating, I don't necessarily think that's the case. This is a final run that has not been seen in almost 30 years. A lot of those fans who are outside are younger fans who might not have the capital to buy tickets to go inside the Bell Center anyway. Regardless of whether you're increasing the number or not, I think you're still getting the same number of people outside carrying on during the Stanley Cup playoff run. But I think if you were able to, have people show proof of vaccination before entering the Bell Center and have them spaced out throughout the arena, yeah, why not? I think it would have worked out. In terms of the arena seeming as if there's more than 3,500 people, I just think the Canadiens are doing a good job of making it seem like there's more than 3,500 people. I think most of the comments that come out about the Canadiens' attendance, it's like, oh, it seems like there's more than 3,500 people. They kind of come during like the pregame festivities, the intros and all that, and you see the fans celebrating, you hear the sound of the Bell Center, and then you see all those flashing lights coming from different seats. I just think I think it's some creativity on the part of the Montreal Canadiens to make the arena seem a lot louder and a lot more packed than it is. That's just my theory. I have no clue whether or not it's more than 3,500, whether there is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but it sure sounds like, at least for me, whenever I've been at the games, it sure sounds like it sounds like it's more than 3,500, but I'm not willing to say with the eye test that it's more than that. I'll give the Canadiens props for doing that. I don't know if anyone else has any other thought they want to throw in here before we sound off, but I just had to make that known that just because you increase the capacity at the Bell Center does not mean that you're going to you're going to cut down the numbers of people outside, because people are just going to do that anyway.
But just that they're not addressing the people outdoors, like they're still there, and they're encouraging people to go there by showing them on TV, by having them all over social media. That's my thing, is just, you can't say you're not going to increase the people at the Bell Center and then just say we're going to ignore the fact that we've got thousands of people outside not following social distancing rules.
Well, there's the COVID health thing, and there's also mental health also. We were saying these young people who've been locked up for so long during COVID, the weather's nice. I think, what are they going to do? Go in with the riot squad and clear them out? Like, that's not going to end well. So, I mean, going to the games,
they might do it.
There's police everywhere in like every corner. Walking back to my car after the game the other night, every single street corner has 5 or 6 Montreal riot cops waiting there to control things. So I don't think they want to start something. I mean, I know one of the games they had to put out some tear gas or smoke bombs or whatever it was to disperse the crowds, just because they had to clear people, and obviously they weren't going to leave. So the police are sort of caught in a situation where if they do nothing and windows get smashed and everything, they're in trouble. And if they do something, so it's sort of, I just think that to go in there and start breaking up the crowd
But they could have another location near the Bell Center, like the park in front of the Sun Life building.
Well,
have a projector there. People can spread out rather than being like glued to each other, watching it off a TV at the casual sport.
As I mentioned, that's why the Canadiens, in my opinion, should have done something like that. They really, really should have. Their excuse that we're too busy and don't have the finances to do that is BS. I mean, it's something I think the Canadiens should have done. This fan group, and these young fans are possibly future season ticket holders, that's your future fan base. And I think they should have done something to accommodate them and make them more comfortable. You said instead of trying to watch the game through a window of the screens in the casual sport, get a park somewhere, put up a giant screen, have people bring their blankets or whatever, be more spread out than they would be at the Bell Center. You would still have crowds outside the Bell Center, I think, because people want to be close to the building. But it might have thinned it out a bit, and I think it would have been a good public relations move by the Canadiens. I think they missed an opportunity there. And whatever it would have cost them is less than it would cost to sign a fourth line player.
What, should we put some of Corey Perry's projected salary towards that? Is that what you're saying? No. Yeah, it's a really interesting discussion topic. Maybe some ideas the Canadiens can put together for the next playoff run that they have in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Who knows if it'll be just as magical as the one we've seen in 2021. Let us know in the comments section what you think of all of this COVID madness. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit hockeyinsideout.com to check out our full episode and read all the interesting columns and pieces that are there. Stu's stuff about last night, Brendan Kelly's What the Puck, everything you'd want to be up to date on the Montreal Canadiens. You can find it at hockeyinsideout.com.